Welcome to Taking It to the Nub. This is season 1, episode 30. And today I have the great pleasure of sitting down for a good hour worth of cigar smoking and talking cigars with Yadi Gonzalez Vargas. And Yadi, if you don't know, has been at the helm of Flor De Gonzalez Cigars for quite some time. As president and the pleasant face of the company, Yadi has been guiding it for over a decade. She immigrated to the United States when she was 8 years old. She's been around tobacco and cigars for her whole life. Her great-grandfather, Don Arenas Gonzalez, was the first to cultivate tobacco in Cuba. The family involvement continued with her grandfather, Ramiro Gonzalez, and then her father, Arnaldo Gonzalez. And Yadi officially joined the company with her father in 2002 as the manager of finance, and over the years learned every aspect of the business. Now as president of the company, Yadi has brought international recognition to her family using all the skill she learned over the years. Let me bring in and welcome Yadi Gonzalez. Yadi, how are you?
Hey. I hear you in the background there.
Okay. What are you smoking right now?
I am smoking this fine cigar here called, it's a private stock by Boston Jimmie.
Whoa! How did you get your hands on that one? That's a
I just
unicorn.
know somebody that was very kind enough to get me one of these fine cigars. I'm actually enjoying it very much.
Oh,
So
thank you very much. Well, we're not here
thank
to
you.
talk about my cigar, but you could always comment on it along the way. And I'm actually smoking your Flor De Gonzalez 20th anniversary Maduro, which I believe I did a review back in 2015 on, and I was really pleased with it. And I'm smoking it now and look back at the notes, and I was like, yeah, this has still been consistent all these years. So
That's literally one of my go-to cigars in our line of cigars. I love that cigar. I call it my chocolate bar to go to.
that's it.
Especially as I'm always trying to diet, I'll smoke instead of having some chocolate.
So how are your daughters doing these days?
Oh my goodness, fantastic. I finally have two college students. So my oldest one's about to graduate this semester from her, she's graduating with her bachelor's in, um, uh, my God, science, biology. There we go. Biology. And my youngest one just started biology as well. So
Right.
hopefully one day they'll do something together with that.
Yeah, maybe
That's
they can go down and work in the farms and make better plants.
maybe that too.
Follow mama in the business.
Mhm.
Although they've been, your oldest has been with you at the shows, right?
Oh yeah, my oldest one knows a lot about cigars. Actually, he knows uh, she's been around. Actually, she went with me since she's 18. She's 22. So for the past 4 years, she's been involved in the industry a little bit to an extent because she is a full-time student.
Right, right. So is she in school right now, or she doing school from home?
From home, still from home. Uh, her classes were supposed to be in campus, but because of this whole COVID, some classes have moved back to campus, but hers particularly have not been moved back. So she can't wait actually to go back to campus. She likes better the actual interaction in classroom. But we got to do what we got to do for now.
So, I was thinking about different questions to ask you, and I kind of introduced you, but in your words, I want to ask you, who is Yadi Gonzalez?
Who am I? Um, well, I am first the mother, of these two fine young ladies that you've had the opportunity to meet one of them, and the other one's just as precious. Um, and I'm, a very hardworking and passionate woman in this industry of cigars. I've been involved in the business that my dad started 25 years ago. I've been involved since 2001, so it's been a little minute now. And just pretty much down to earth individual here that again loves what I do. I have a background in accounting, which I also like very much, and go back to with my own business and others as well. So pretty much a little bit of a workaholic, if you will. Always keep myself very, very busy, doing one thing or another.
And you were born in Cuba?
I was born in Cuba. I was born in Havana. I came to this country during the Mariel boat lift in 1980. And yeah, it's very thankful to my parents for having taken their chances, to bring me here. My dad was one of the people that took asylum in the Peruvian embassy. And so he came to this country through Spain. And shortly after that, the Mariel was opened up. When Fidel said, whoever wants to leave, go ahead and leave. And, my family that was here, that had been here right after the revolution, my dad's brothers, they went to pick us up on a boat.
Exciting adventure at what, 8 years old?
I was 8 years old, yes. Funny thing is, I remember it so vividly, it's scary. Something that never leaves your mind. It's incredible because, to have been so young, there's a lot of things that I remember from my childhood. But that one in particular, I remember it from the moment that they knocked on our doors. Actually, since my dad, it was a lot of commotion going on since my dad went into the embassy, and we tried to go see him a couple of times while he was in the embassy. He was in there for days. We tried to take him food and stuff like that. I remember all that stuff. There are rough moments in Cuba, but we had to do what we had to do to come to this beautiful country of freedom.
So as I noted in the introduction, and I've had a number of interviews with you in the past, so I have a lot of notes from the past, and I don't want to drill into too much, but some things that I never really got to ask you about is your great-grandfather. You note it about your great-grandfather being one of the first to cultivate tobacco in Cuba. Talk to me about that. How does that story go?
As far as my dad tells me, my dad, grew already or was born into a family that grew tobacco. Unfortunately, his dad passed away when he was very young. He was about 2 years old, I believe. So basically, he was with the grandfather for a little while in the fields and all this. And shortly thereafter, while he was still a young boy, he was taken to Havana. So at that point, he was disassociated, if you will, from, tobacco. But as you know, I guess this is something that kind of gets instilled in you. So when he came to this country, he had the opportunity. After a few years of working and, other things, my family had established cabinet carpentry business here in the United States. His brother, who was the first one that came here, my uncle, who passed away just a couple of years ago. And that's where he started, obviously, working. And shortly after that, when he had the opportunity to start making cigars here in Hialeah, same place, where we're at today, he did so. And after that, he also grew some tobacco in Ecuador with a partner. And, had that for a few years. And right now, he's basically retired. But, still comes into the office every single morning at the crack of dawn, as if he still had, rollers from front to back. Stays here for a little while and then goes home. But, we're glad that he's still, smoking and in good health, you know, after having had a very bad scare about 4 years ago that he has, you know, come back from so far, knock on wood, with no problem.
Blessings to him and your family.
Absolutely.
Good
Thank
thing.
you.
So you came into the company working the finance side of it, and eventually you took the reins as president of the company. What was that like as as a woman taking the reins of a fairly large company at the time in the tobacco world? How was that all received by the world? Did you have any issues with that personally or others?
I mean, it sort of depends. When you go back to the very beginning, when I started, you know, obviously, I was much younger, just learning. Um, because when, like I said, when I came in, I started handling the finances, because my dad had also gone into other businesses, just as far as you know, real estate and some liquor store. He had also gone into the plantation in Ecuador. So I was doing the finances for the company. But I had come from, you know, corporate America, a company that was quite large with a lot of employees, and really kept myself busy. And this is a small company. So after a little while, you know, the accounting part was done like with closed eyes real quick. And we still had rollers here in Miami. So I find, you know, myself mingling in the back with the rollers and the tobacco, and, you know, asking questions, and my dad showing me more about the actual production of the cigars. And something that, you know, was very, I guess, uh, gave me curiosity was that a few years have passed since he had started, and I knew there were others in the industry, as I'm reading through magazines that come in every month and all that. And I'm like, well, you know, these guys, Dad, I remember you talking to these people, kind of like helping them get started and stuff like that. You know, we kind of like, for lack of a better word, had not advanced, you know, at the level that some of these other companies had. And I started looking at, you know, what was, you know, what might have been a factor for that. And obviously the main reason is that my dad does not speak the language. You know, he went to like a second grade, third grade, maybe. And he's very quick with his mind with mathematics, and he reads all day long. That's his hobby. But you know, he didn't have the I guess knowledge to do the marketing and stuff like that for the company. So much that in 2001, when I started working with him, he had not been to any trade shows yet. As a matter of fact, our first trade show was in 2003 or four. And you know, when I start going out then to the stores, yes, I did get some, you know, some snobby people every now and then that are men, I like to say, that were like, you know, what do you know about cigars? But you know, at the beginning, it kind of struck me, and you know, in a way. But after that, it was like, well, I probably know a little bit more than you do. And I was okay once, you know, once you start talking about actual tobacco, you know, and you're able to open up or look at a wrapper and know what wrappers you're smoking. And if you open up a cigar, you know, 90% of the times you can depict what is in it, as far as the fillers and, you know, binders and stuff like that. You start to gain your confidence. And regardless of the fact that you're a minority in the industry, you know your subject. You know, you do you do it with confidence. Basically, that's what it is.
And I have to say, you rose above all of that. You really have taken this brand and continue to build it as you were working through it. And as you said, you said something really interesting, and I always like to educate people on the show about things. The ash fell. Look at that. The
nice
chunk. It's a nice chunk.
And you have a nice.
Like, yeah, it's not a bad burn cone. It looks like it's burning a little inwood in. I don't know.
Very nice.
I've taken another point off my rating on my cigar.
This is me. I love to hold the ash, so that's my fault always.
So when you mentioned that you could pick up a cigar, and by looking at it or touching it, even before you taste it, you can tell the wrapper. So you know most all the wrappers just by looking at the cigar.
I'm not gonna say that I'm the expert, but again, I feel pretty confident that you look at something, you touch it, you smell it, and you've been around this long enough to know what you've got in your hand.
So when you look at, I look at a cigar and I could probably tell you what a broadleaf is. I can tell you what a Connecticut is. I can tell you what a San Andreas wrapper is because of the toothiness and all of that. But when you look at something like a Corojo or a Habano, how do you know the difference between those two? Just by looking at it or just by smelling it? Is there a distinctive
between those two in particular, I'm going to say that the Habano is just definitely you have more aromas in that cigar from my experience. And it's a little bit of a thicker leaf as well than a Corojo.
Okay. Interesting. Because those are the two I always have hard. If I'm looking at it, I'm like, is it a Corojo?
It's not like you're going to be on the money 100% of the time, but it's that since we, you and I, and I'm sure a lot of other people that have joined us here today, we're passionate about this. We like to kind of like study it to the T, and we're smoking a cigar and we're looking at it and we're, it's just, it's the geek and us cigar smokers.
Exactly. Now, when you blend, you're hands-on blending now with the company?
Absolutely, definitely. The first cigar that I blended was the 1980, which is this one here, is the 90 Miles 1980 edition. And this one has a Mexican a Mexican San Andreas wrapper and a broadleaf binder. And the broadleaf binder is from Ecuador, and it was a crop of tobacco that my dad grew in Ecuador. And I really, really wanted to have a broadleaf wrapper cigar at that point. But in my opinion, those tobaccos were not pretty.
No, they're not.
And the ones in Ecuador are less pretty because the conditions are not the same as they're grown here in Pennsylvania. So I said, how about we just leave it as a binder and put a Mexican San Andreas on it, which was also another wrapper that I wanted to have make a cigar with, and it turned out beautiful. I loved that particular cigar. So yes, I'm definitely hands-on blending with our line of cigars, as well as other private labels that we do as well.
And when you blend a cigar, do you personally like to blend it for strength or flavor? I mean, where is your profile?
Flavor. I always like to go for flavor, more than strength in my line. Again, we make cigars for other people as well, and they're looking for some things that are different, and we have to play with the different blends to accommodate them. But in our particular line of cigars, we rather strike flavor than strength. You know, the strongest cigar we have, you know, right now is our Habano 90 millas with the blue label. And if you have smoked this, you know, you'll feel that it's a medium to full body cigar, but there's a lot of flavor in it. You know, we don't have any, honestly, powerhouse strong cigars that the next morning when you wake up, you remember you smoked a 90 miles of Flor De Gonzalez because of how strong it was.
Sometimes people feel like smoke that cigar like 10 minutes later. It's like, you know, it's like Alito Gomez, you know, he just kills my head with the sweet.
That was the first, or one of their cigars was the first cigar that ever like made me tear up really bad for a while. A Chisel. Great cigars, but yeah, quite strong.
So Dustin App is asking, is the 90 Miles Lancero a regular production yet?
It is. It very much is. The Lancero was, hi Dustin, actually, how are you? The 90 Miles Lancero was originally just a limited edition cigar for a very special, you know, purpose. And it was so well received and liked, and we had all the retailers that took up on that cigar, and the consumers, you know, asked us time and time again if we would have more, if we had more. And I figured, well, if it was so well received and people want them back, we're gonna do another batch. We did another batch of these cigars. They go by quick, and by the third batch, I decided we would keep it as, you know, in our regular rotation of manufacturing, and they always do really, really good.
Now, are they in limited shops? Because I hear some shops they just don't sell Lanceros. And
Exactly, yeah. It's definitely has Lancero is a six, you know, a 38 ring gauge cigar is something like, you know, a 70 or an 80. You're gonna have that limited amount of people that like these cigars. But the shops that get behind it sell a load of them, and then they can't keep them in stock. Honestly, it's definitely one of our best sellers.
when you blend, what Vitola do you blend for to begin with, and then branch from that?
A 50 Robusto.
Robusto, okay. Now, years ago, they used to blend to the Corona or the Lancero, right? That was the original concept.
But yeah, but exactly. And the thing is that nowadays most people like to start with, you know, a 50 and they go above. We're making some cigars, you know, not for my production. The biggest one I make is a 60, but some people want 70s and 80s. So to keep a taste profile, you know, in those big cigars it's a little hard and different, as well as it is to do it in a 38. So kind of start in the middle and take it, you know, down or up in proportion based on the sizes that you're gonna have for the line.
So when you go up in ring gauge, how do you balance that out for to still get a decent amount of the wrapper flavor in the cigar as you're adding more and more fill?
And which is why the question you're asking me basically takes you back to this Lancero, which is why these Lanceros are so well liked, because you have more taste of the wrapper in the smaller cigar. So with the bigger cigars, you have more wrapper as well, because obviously it's a thicker cigar, but you gotta have so much more of the fillers. You have to just you know, your proportions of your blend have to basically be adequate to your starting point cigar, so that you're lying when you smoke a 50 and you smoke a 60, you're tasting the same flavor profiles. So it's just basically a formula, if you will, of prorating the amounts of tobaccos, of the different types of tobaccos you're utilizing in the blend, for the different sizes.
Okay. The last time we spoke was in 2018 at the show. I spoke to you after that. We were at an event in Miami. We've seen each other, but last time I talked to you about in depth about the brand, I think it was 2018, and you did not have anything new coming out. Are you working on anything new now for the company?
Yes, we're working on the 25th anniversary, and we have been for almost a year now. We were supposed to have that cigar already. It's been a little stalled. I'm hoping to have it here in the next couple of months. But it is the 25th anniversary, which we're calling Aniversario de Plata. And that's going to be our new cigar. I was kind of, you know, and it's still about bringing out new products because of the FDA, and you know, we're going to be really able to continue to sell anything that was not grandfathered. So I didn't want to go crazy. We're a small company, and every time you bring a new cigar out to market, there's tons of expenses related to that. You know, you got to make a bunch of bands, boxes, and get your allotted tobaccos in place to have a production, you know, for the next year or two. So we wanted to make sure, again, we were careful with that and not going to extra expenses if we were going to have to pull them back, not to go through substantial equivalency or bringing the same blends from, X amount of years ago. Didn't make too much sense to me in particular. I know a lot of people did, and they continue to do it. And, I applaud them for it. Everybody has a different, business plan. But I was okay holding off and, selling what we have. We have a large portfolio. We've been in the business for a long time. So I was okay holding off for a couple of years. I don't regret it.
Yeah, and the FDA kind of got caught in their own problem and kind of let go of the reins for a little bit and gave a lot of people freedom. I mean, I'm getting phone calls and emails from the new company, just, again, like it was back 5 years ago, and suddenly that we're getting flooded with stuff again. So it's fun. It's interesting to see that.
Because now, we're not, I don't think we're out of the wood, but we know we're going to be okay for a few years until they get back to it and they can get, their act together and how they're going to, go about the substantial equivalency situation and the grandfather and all that. So
right.
I think just like other people feel, more comfortable, I do as well. So we're going to go ahead and with our project for the 25th anniversary, which is, it's a number that you just can't let go under the table.
No.
It's a good milestone.
You got to celebrate a quarter century with that.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Last year, in around June, you wrote a heartfelt letter to all the industry. When you decided that you made a decision not to attend the PCA in 2019. Going forward now with where we are you planning to go to either TPE or PCA in 2021 if it's happening?
Yes. I definitely want to try TPE. PCA, it's not, I'm not saying no, but it became a show that didn't do much for smaller companies like mine. I was standing at the booth for hours at a time and days at a time, where, it was a little bit of a ghost town, if you will. So the expense associated with attending the show didn't make sense anymore. So, with everything that was happening, it was, again, a hard decision to make because I was the first one that made the decision to go to you know, RTDA back then, like I mentioned, my dad had never been to one, and I was the one that you know, said we need to go to these shows, you know, and I loved it from the first one that I went to. I fell in love with the industry show. It's a time that we all gather, and you know, despite sales or not, you know, it's a once a year, you know, celebration of the industry as well, if you will, which was very important, and I enjoyed it very much. But you know, at the beginning when we started attending, I'd come back with hundreds of leads, with good sales, and there came the time where, you know, I'd come back with like very, very limited amount of leads, with you know, limited sales as well, and it didn't make sense to me. So I didn't go that year. And then, well, 2019, we all know what happened, I'm sorry, 2020. So we'll see. That I'm definitely looking into TPE, and then we'll take it from there to see if we do the PCA again or not.
It'll be interesting from an industry perspective how it gets handled, because TPE, they shifted from January to May, so mid-May now for TPE, and PCA, if they hold to their normal schedule, is usually late June, early July, and
still back to back.
Little tiny window of time to have two major tobacco shows in Vegas for retailers to choose. And they're gonna, you know, I don't know if the retailers are gonna want to go to both of them. If you go to one, you cover the floor that you need. You kind of got everything you needed. You saw most everything. And then if you go to the next show and see the same thing, it's really not. I don't see financially beneficial for going. You know, so
yeah, TPE has definitely you know, gained a lot more following from the premium industry in the last few years. I remember, you know, 10 years ago or what have you, it was more of the convenience stores. Our product was there, but it was there through distributors. And that would have been our lower end products, our bundles, you know, which we still make, and you know, it's not what makes the you know, the most amount of money, if you will, but you know, pays the light bill every month, and keeps, you know, the factory moving. So our product was always at the TPE through a couple of distributors, but as a company, I've never attended, and for years I've been you know, it's been in the back of my mind to attend, and I'd always chosen, you know, you had to choose one. So the premium cigar show was the one that I always attended. But you know, as we all know, the TPE is now, I don't know if it's, I want to say, being taken over, but a lot of people are just, a lot of the
people want to experience it because they've heard so much about it. You know, I went to two of them already. Well, one of them. I went to one because the other one got canceled. But the one I went to, I found it to be very easy to navigate, very easy to get around and talk to a number of different brand owners. The floor print was very simple to navigate. They had a lot of little kiosk areas that was set up. Not everybody had their own booth. I kind of like that. Some of the brand owners were saying, nah, they liked it, but they didn't because they had to share couches and stuff like that. But we'll see. We'll see what the next one brings. I mean, it definitely, from what I understand, the footprint has grown year over year over year. And they've brought in some big anchors, like, you know, Drew Estate came in. So they've anchored the show now, besides Phillips and King. And so they got a pretty big set of anchors that hold that.
And it might become something like the PCA is, where you have then the huge booth and stuff like that. But for what I understand, going back maybe 5 years, 6 years, it was small, you know, 10 by 10, you know, simple, like you say, simple to navigate aisle after aisle, and, you know, buy and get out, buy your product and keep going. Ours is more of a, socializing as well, with the big spaces, the couches, the parties at the booths, the coffee, the drinks. It's a little different.
Absolutely. Do you have any ideas of possibly collaborating with anybody, any of the other major brands on a cigar? Have you gone that path at all?
I've had that in mind. Yeah, definitely. Nothing is out, nothing is written in stone yet, but I definitely have that in mind.
Okay, good. We'll
I'd be surprised.
look forward to seeing that.
Absolutely.
In your factories, how many pairs of rollers do you have?
We have about 60 pairs of rollers right now. And right now it's full throttle. Everyone, I mean, it's busy. It's busy. And like I said, we do our products and we do some private labels, and, a combination of COVID and the FDA news has been good. Um, something struck with COVID, and sales, have been good. People stay home and smoke. I don't know exactly what the formula was for that to happen, but it's happened to just about every
this.
brand.
I'm on a Zoom virtual HERF at least every night, sometimes twice. Sometimes they run to the behest of my wife. Sometimes they run to like midnight. So, but I'm sitting in my own lounge, and we're all sitting around the country and sometimes around the world, and smoking cigars. So I think what you said is absolutely correct. The COVID issue have put people in virtual world, but they're smoking more cigars because they're in their environment.
And think about it. If you go to the stores, some of them have, lounges. You buy the drinks, you buy, and by the end of the night, you would have spent, I don't know, $100. Oh, they lost that one too. But I saw it. It was pretty good, and had a pretty good ash going.
And a good ash. And a nice ash.
I think if you're home, you're buying your own liquor, at a liquor store, you're spending less money on liquor, so you're spending more money on cigars.
Absolutely. And I know, like, I've been doing it myself. I've told people this over and again. We didn't have PCA this year, so I didn't spend any of my, my advertising budget pretty much goes back to the industry. Usually goes to pay for my trip to TPE or PCA, to cover all of that for my own marketing. And of course, you come home with cigars and all of that. But you didn't have that. So what I decided this year I would do is I would take that budget, and I'm calling up different shops that I frequented or have known or visited through my travels, and I make a phone call and I say, hey, what do you got new in the humidor? And they would go in the humidor with their phone. They'd show me. I say, okay, I need 5 of these, 5 of these, 5 of these. And I put in an order from shops in Detroit, in Michigan, and Ohio, and Pennsylvania, and New York. And just say, I'm going to help keep the lights on, man, because guess what? I was going to spend that money anyway. Might as well just help the industry out. And in one way, I think I'm getting more of what I need than if I actually went to the show. So it makes me wonder, should I be going to the show every year, other than the party, right?
Exactly. That's what we miss, the interaction with people, but the world took a change, a drastic change, and we had to move with those times. And I think we're lucky, so lucky and blessed that we have this means, because at least it helped us, to continue to stay in touch with everybody, and one way or another continue to smoke and do these events virtually. Even some sales events. So we've done some actual events with stores, virtual events where we're promoting the product, and they're taking orders on through Zoom and stuff like that. So it's worked out. We made it work.
Yeah, no, and it's like businesses, smart, savvy businesses navigate roadblocks. They figure out, they adjust. You have to adjust. Everything you do, you adjust, and you keep rolling along.
Right.
Like
Like I said, it's the fact that it happened, in this age and time where we have technology, it's still a blessing in disguise, because had this happened, 20 years ago, it would have been a lot rougher for all industries, but, particularly ours. But, all industries were able to somehow do some other sales through these types of internet or Zoom meetings, Facebook Lives, and all this. So at least, not everyone was completely out.
I agree with that. That's the technology has made life a little easier with this, but not so easy, I imagine, was the factory itself. Did you have to shut your factory down for a while?
We slowed it down, and we were closed for just during the month of April, and that came in together with like Holy Week, so it was the Holy Week and an extra week. Okay. So it wasn't that bad, but production does slow down because now we're decontaminating every hour, so everyone is getting up and out, cleaning up, and then going back to their spots. So obviously that takes a toll, because you're taking out 15-20 minutes of the day, of the hour, basically, to decontaminate, because in those countries, especially in Nicaragua, and I can talk about Nicaragua only because that's my experience, kept the government kept hush hush, if you will, about what was going on. They kind of like turned a face at what was really going on. So, there was less information to the residents there, and people were getting sick and having problems, but they have less. They don't take care as much as we do here, if you will. We're like, wear the mask and the hand sanitizers and this and that. Over there is different. So we had to take it upon ourselves to do it in the factory, because when they leave the factory, we don't know what they're doing. Right. And it's just different. It's different than the United States. So we made sure that we at least do what we can on our end when they're there.
So you moved into the international markets much with your brand?
I tried, and I went to the show in Germany 5 years ago, and it was an amazing show. I was like blown away by that trade show. But it's a market that, again, I have to conquer here first, and then try to work on that. I did try. I spoke to several people. They're a little slow, if you will. They take things much more pace than we do here in the United States. So just one thing came about, and we sent some products to them. But it's definitely something that I want to go back and revisit. But right now, like I said before, we want to make sure we go back full throttle here in the U.S. I've had trouble with lacking representation in certain states, because we do, we don't have in-house sales representatives. So it's always a little bit more challenging than when you have actual in-house. But yeah, definitely something that we want to go ahead and move forward with.
So Mateo Pensa asks, when will the RA Robusto come out?
He loves that cigar, doesn't he? uh, um, so that cigar is
Talk
only in
about
the
the
box.
RA. So explain to people what we when we say RA, what does that mean?
Well, basically what happened was that I have 5-pack of Robustos, right, of 90-mile Robustos. And it has an original 90 miles. It has a 90-mile Reserva Selecta. It has a couple of the 1980s. And since it was a Robusto 5-pack, and you know, it was 90-mile Robusto 5-pack, we also have a 90-mile RA in a Robusto size. We have the blend, and we've done it enough for that 5-pack. And it's like a little gem that we give out for people to try in the 5-packs, and everybody that tries it loves it. So I know that's why Mateo is asking for that, is the 90 miles RA in the Robusto size. So the RA stands for the name Roberto Alonso. I think you might have met Roberto.
Yep.
Who passed away and worked with us. So that's that special blend. You know, this limited edition cigar, which I guess he's blessed and, you know, looked after from up above, and has done so well because of that. But yes, Mateo, we're gonna do a special batch for you. I get one of those cigars. Definitely, we gotta get him some.
Okay, so at this point of the show, what I do now is I take a short little moment to go through what's new in news and reviews on Stogie Press, so you can watch along as we go through that. Let me just open these up. So we'll talk news. It was a crazy news week in cigars. I got hammered with news. You know, it's like sometimes I don't get a lot, sometimes I get everything. So taking it from the top, I put out from 2 weeks ago, we did a show with Shorty Rossi. So that is now out on the YouTube channel, so you can find the link in this article right here. Drew Estate announced that they're shipping the Undercrown Dojo Dogma, the Sun Grown, to all the Drew Diplomat retailers. So if you're looking for a new Drew Estate cigar out there, this is the one to go get your hands on. It's an Ecuadorian Sumatra Sun Grown with Connecticut. It's got a double binder, Connecticut River Valley stalk cut, and a cured Sun Grown tobacco, and a Nicaraguan filler. Alec Bradley announced that they're starting to ship their limited edition black market Esteli Diamond. So this is the one that's kind of got a diamond press to it, they call it. And this is a Nicaraguan wrapper with a Honduran and Nicaraguan binder and Nicaraguan filler. It comes in this box, which is interesting. They try to make it look like a diamond box. So that's going to be shipping now. The Industrial Cigar Company down in Texas has launched what they call the nation's first Atabay private lounge. So in their shop, they have a private lounge. There's a really cool video here that you can watch that takes you through the lounge and a big celebration of opening that. So if you're down in Frisco, Texas area, and you want to check out a really beautiful lounge, this is definitely one to go check out. If I get down there, I will find my way there for sure. Our friends at Espinosa have announced the Lazonapalooza 2020. That is going to be a virtual event instead of the normal invite, come down and party for 3 days at the Espinosa's warehouse. What they're doing here is they've offered 3 different packages for this. So anybody can go to this. This is not invite only. Anybody can attend this virtual event. They have 3 packages that they sold. The diamond package is sold out, from what I understand. It's sold out within less than 24 hours. but they have a gold package for 150, a platinum for 300, and the diamond was 500. And they come in with raffle tickets. They're gonna have a lot of different raffles. Lazonapalooza is a great event when you get to go to it. This is going to be great to have this virtual, so everybody can experience what Eric and the team is doing. The gold package comes with a decent amount of cigars. So the gold package, the platinum package comes with everything that's in the gold package plus some additions. You're going to get some of these new protocol cigars, 601s and Lagotas. I'm going to come in with that. And the diamond package sold out almost instantly. Like I said, I mean, you get almost with this package, we're getting well over 60 cigars in the package, and you got this cool wall humidor. So this thing on the right is actually a humidor. It holds 40 cigars. It hangs on your wall, and it's got the front Espinosa emblem on it. So this is got a lot of people going for that. So there is plus you get these small perfectos in their main line as a special for this. So they're going to be doing that, and that's going to be happening in late November, I believe. So keep an eye out. If you haven't, November 12th to 14th, I think it's a Thursday to a Saturday. I haven't got from Eric yet the actual timing of it, whether it's what time of the day it starts, because people are working. But there will be a lot of fun in this event, I'm sure, because Eric is good at that. And you'll hear lots of stories from Eric Espinosa throughout those daily events. Dissident Cigars, who works with Black Label Trading Company and James Brown. They've come out with 3 new blends. Their 3 new blends, and my internet's slow. Anyway, they come out with 3 new blends. Their first one is the Rant. If you get the message they're sending here, they got the Rant, the Rave, and the Tirade. So they're making a statement. Benjamin Holt, who is the owner of this part of the company, is like that. So the Rave is an Ecuadorian Connecticut with an Ecuador binder and Nicaraguan Pennsylvania broadleaf filler. The Rave is the Rant is a Pennsylvania broadleaf with Ecuador and Nicaraguan and Dominican filler. This comes in a petite Corona. The Rave comes in a box press Robusto, and the Tirade comes in a Corona Gorder, and that's going to be a San Andreas, Ecuadorian, Nicaraguan, Dominican filler. So look for these coming out, hitting the market soon. Our friends at Viva La Vida, who work with AJ Fernandez, if you recall, when they came out with this blend and worked with AJ on it, AJ kind of took this under his wing and decided to add it to his portfolio here in the United States. So wherever there was an AJ event, you'd always find Viva La Vida cigars. Now he has gone international. He's agreed to take these across his whole international market through Europe and Asia. So Viva La Vidas are gonna be all through the world. So that's a big announcement from them. I'm sure Billy and Gus are very pleased about that. And then we put out the Jeffrey Amendola YouTube for that episode that we had 3 weeks ago, and that's the news of the week. The news that's not in here, which happened on Monday, is one of the Facebook groups called the New England Cigar Militia got taken down by Facebook because of primarily the events that were happening in Michigan. So the name Militia is not good to have in your Facebook group name. So they took his whole group down, 2,300 followers, and everything was just wiped off the map, and he had to rebuild it. So he has rapidly been rebuilding it. So God bless him, making it happen. The cigar reviews we did this week, we did 3 reviews. The first one we did was the Macale Cigars Grand Bold Lagero. I picked some of these up in a purchase I made. I know these have been around for a couple of years, but we gave this one a 91 rating. This actually is a very nice cigar. Had a beautiful ash on it. Get some points off for that kind of off burn there and a little kind of off burn on the cone. But other than that, and then this little ding over here. But other than that, flavor wise, it had a really nice flavor profile. Kind of was very balanced throughout. We took off the points for the off burn. It did require a touch up and had that off-centered burn cone. So 91 on that. We also looked at, this is a company, one of these small companies that contacted me, a company called Poker Face Cigars. He's got one called the King of Spades. This was his Habano Robusto. This gentleman, his name is Don Lewis IV. He's down there, and he's got operations down in the Dominican. He actually has at this point has opened up his own little factory with about 8 to 10 employees right outside Puerto Plata. This is a Ecuadorian Habano with a Cubano wrapper and a Lagero Criollo 98 Corojo Lagero and a Seco Cubano. So kind of a complex filler. This cigar just, I don't know, it had a nice, really nice ash. And a lot of times when I see a cigar with a burn like that, everything's like, it's going to get high points, but this lost the points significantly, the ash on that. All right. But it lost significant points based on the flavor. Unfortunately, it was very harsh on the front end. It started to develop some notes. Then it got pasty and it got astringent, and it just kind of didn't really develop. It just wasn't there. It was just trying to find itself, and by the time it found itself, the cigar was pretty much over. So we gave that one an 88. And then the last one is the Trafficante cigars. Another one that I picked up, the Misfortune. This one's been around for a while. I do like the craft the Trafficante has put out. A very small batch, very, very small company. Excuse me, very small company. This one is a Sumatra. They're very secretive on a lot of stuff. These guys are ex-special ops guys and drug enforcement agents that own this company. So they came out with a Sumatra wrapper with an undisclosed binder and a Dominican and Nicaraguan filler. They don't tell you where it's made, with factory or where it comes out of. But this one here had a decent burn, nice ash cone. Flavors were good. I mean, it wasn't overly complex. It kind of went one-dimensional at the end. But in the beginning, it had a nice flavor profile, and it just kind of settled into this kind of exotic spice that I would call, and that exotic spice just kind of carried through the cigar. And it wasn't a bad spice. It was actually pleasurable to smoke it. So we rated this one a 92. So that's the news and reviews on Stogie Press. Now we'll come back to Yadi.
Great news. Lots of news going on in 1 week there.
Yeah, some weeks it's low, but like you said, the FDA has let go of some of the reins, and you're starting to see a lot of things hit the market.
That's awesome.
That. I like the fact that people are allowed to let their craft go, get innovative, do what they're going to do. I like to see more cigars hit the market. I'm a guy that likes to smoke a different cigar every day. You get bored after a while smoking the same cigar, but that's me.
I'm very, very happy to see that happening again.
It is all good for the industry, for sure. In your business now, how many shops are you said you have the issue with getting representation at shops? How many shops are you in now in the country?
So we sell directly to shops, but we also have we do sell to a few distributors. So I know that there are shops that we're in that we don't have that particular information, and we've been around, around for quite some time. But as far as us directly here from our office, we have a rotation of, shops that will order, within the year about, 200, 250. They don't, some of them order quite frequently, like weekly, those that really stand behind the product. And then there's others that order, once every 2 or 3 months. But we've been in quite a lot of shops, but as I mentioned, it's not getting into the shop, it's keeping the shop. That is the challenging position that we are put into. So if I've got a rep, say in Ohio, at one time I did really, really well in Ohio. I had a rep, excuse me, Greg Eden, who worked with our product for about 2 years, and he did wonderful. He moved in-house with another company, and I tried to get a replacement for him in the area, and did with 2 other people, and it just didn't quite work out that well. And what happens is you start losing the accounts, because if the rep is not there and the face of the retailer, you lose your spot on the shelf.
Yeah.
Simple.
Right.
It's so you have to be there, and that is from a small company standpoint, the hardest challenge that we face is having the right representation. A lot of people want to be reps because they love cigars, they love to smoke, but it's not their primary job. They want to take it as a part-time, and as a part-time, it doesn't work that well, because you have to be on the road every single day. You have to be in the shops, every day. Sometimes not even 8 hours a day. You have to work longer hours. Again, I refer to our company being a small company. It's a harder sale for a rep to sell a Flor De Gonzalez than it is, obviously, to sell, a Padron or a My Father, or something like that. You go into the store as a rep to sell a My Father cigar, and they're going to take the order because this is a very well-known cigar, and the store wants it without even trying it, because they've been, they've gotten #1 spots many times, et cetera, et cetera. They're in every magazine. So it's harder when you're a smaller company and you don't have the advertising dollars to put into it, to have a rep go in and say, buy a Flor De Gonzalez, buy a 90 miles. They're going to say, well, why should I? There's just other 20 cigars out there. And so they have to go back several times and actually have that retail store owner smoke a cigar with them, and see that the cigar is good, and go a few times and smoke a few cigars with them to basically make that rapport, if you will, with the retail owner, to finally open the account, right? It has to be extremely good to open it that first time when you go with a small brand.
Cigar has to speak for itself.
Exactly. So that has definitely always been just, the challenging part. And I tried an in-house a couple of times, actually. And, by the time you pay salaries and road expenses, and they come back with sales, and the number is negative month after month, you kind of have to say, okay, bite the bullet and say, we got to go back to our independent reps. And then, you have people asking to be an independent rep. They'll ask, hey, I want to do this, but, as I kind of tell them, it's like, when you're going to start selling cigars as an independent rep, it's kind of like starting your own business. And to start a business, what do you need first? You need to have capital, right? You can't start a business without capital. And you say, well, why do I need capital? You know, you're going to be giving me the samples, you know. Well, guess what? It's not only the samples. Your capital is basically, the way I see it, coming from a, you know, accounting and finances background. Your capital is basically, you know, you got to have at least 6 months to a year of your home expenses, you know,
Right.
to be able to rely on not making money as an independent rep for the first 6 months while you get, you know, the acceptance of these shops that you're going, you know, in your area, whatever that area is that they're going to be covering. And if you're not ready to, you know, to spend that money, put that capital into business, then you can't do independent repping for a small company, because it's a formula for failure, basically, for them and for me at the same time.
So there you go. You can call me in 3 years when I retire, and I've got plenty of money to take care of myself, and I can just have fun repping cigars.
Exactly.
I'd make a good rep.
So I have basically gone with less reps, unfortunately, you know, and you know, try to do just a lot of telemarketing and you know, the social medias, which I have lacked some social media presence in the past few months myself, but you know, there's other things that I have to be on top of as well. So social media takes a lot of time.
Yes, it does.
It really does. So when you got to do everything, you have to pick your battles. And so.
Now, is your footprint 100% brick and mortar?
No, we have a presence on, you know, some online distributors as well.
Okay, all right, very good. Any big houses that you're in?
You mean online?
Like into Cigar International or?
Right, Cigars International had a product, I think but we're in famous Mike Cigars, Thompson, JR Cigars.
Okay. So if somebody doesn't carry your brand locally, they can go to Famous and find most of your line.
Yes, correct.
There you go. Check it out. Check out a Flor De Gonzalez cigar. I've enjoyed this brand since I met Yadi years ago. I think she has a fine craft. It's been a pleasure, Yadi, talking. I hope people have learned some things from you, learned a bit about your brand. We're gonna have to connect sometime when this virus goes away. We'll have to get together. Come on up here. Like I said, my wife will give you a full home cooked meal, and you tell them what you like.
I'm gonna take you up on that offer.
Oh, absolutely.
You know.
You come up here, bring Matt up. We'll hit a few shops around here. Maybe we can knock a few doors down. Who knows?
Sounds good. So. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
So it's been a pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this hour. Next week, I will be visiting my grandchildren, so there will be no show next week. It's 100% dedicated to the grandkids for the weekend. It's birthday time up in Tennessee. Taking the risk of flying up there, so hopefully I'll get home okay. Thank you for joining, and again, check the YouTube channel out. All of these shows show up there within 2 weeks. They're always archived there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to Stogie Press if you haven't. They're all going, like I said, we are starting some. We have an email blast that goes out every Friday on Stogie Press where we're going to be putting out special Stogie Press only subscriber contests in addition to the raffles that we do here on Taking It to Know every Saturday afternoon. So thank you very much, Yadi.
Thank you for having me, Jimmie. I totally enjoyed it. I enjoyed your cigar very much. I'm taking it to the top.
What's it, a 90, an 89? What would you rate that?
Oh my goodness. This is definitely, no, it really is a good cigar. Look at the see?
Yeah, it's got a good burn.
If I had to rate it, I'd definitely give it over 90, definitely. It's a great cigar.
That's kind of what I'm hearing, 90, 91.
Yeah.
I think Cigar Coop rated it a 90 or something. I gave it to him to rate just for the fun of it. No, I said, don't pull any punches. You know, tell me if there's anything wrong with it.
This is very, very nice. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
So thank you
And
very
thank
much. El Goose, thank you for coming up and bringing me some stuff.
Great interview, Boston Jimmie. You're the best.
All right, brother. Thank you very much. And thank you, everybody. You'll have a great Saturday and a fantastic rest of the weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
See ya.